Alright, and we are underway. I am... Oh, there we go. Okay. We are underway. I am ins0mnia, and I'm joined here by Quacksilver for this run of Hollow Knight, any percent, no major glitches. We're going to get underway, so time will start when I click this button here, so that will be in 3, 2, 1, and now. And yeah, so this is any percent. If you noticed on the title screen, we are running the game in Chinese. That's just about 20 seconds faster just because text scrolls quicker and there's fewer characters to print out. And we are on an earlier patch of the game. But apart from that, it's kind of similar to the casual experience for the first 10 minutes or so, but I'll pass it over to Quack to kind of explain some of that.
Yeah, hi, I am Quacksilver. I'm so psyched to be here. Good luck, ins0mnia. Yeah, as she mentioned, we are on an earlier patch of the game. This is patch 1.2.2.1, which is the conventional speedrun patch for Hollow Knight. Starting right off at the top of the run, you will notice that what ins0mnia did was to pause and unpause the game to gain control and then perform a tech called an inventory drop, whereby opening the inventory in midair, it uncaps your fall speed as well as stops you from hard falling on the ground. And one of the major reasons for downpatching to this patch for the speedrun is that inventory drops on this patch can be performed freely anywhere in the air. We're going to get out of the tutorial area here, King's Pass. Hollow Knight is a classic Metroidvania. So of course the goal is to collect 3 MacGuffins to open a passageway that requires 3 MacGuffins. In our case, those MacGuffins are the Dreamers. 2 of them will be guarded by very difficult bosses in the any percent run, and 1 will be guarded by a nefarious area. So as ins0mnia drops into Forgotten Crossroads here, our first sort of hub area in the game, you're going to see right away use of the inventory drop to get through this room very, very quickly, except flying enemies have RNG. You love to see that so early.
Yeah, that's pretty typical. I don't remember the exact odds, but you're not meant to get hit there on average, and then you're definitely not meant to get hit more than once, but we are overachievers here.
And in that arena, you notice that you can actually use a stalactite to insta-kill one of those aspids. It's possible to insta-kill 2, but the setup for it is surprisingly precise. It's one of the few tricks that was actually made easier on later patches of the game. But yes, Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Inventory drops were also made easier on later patches in that you can pretend they don't exist. But they are harder to execute.
Yes, on later patches of the game, they only can be performed the physics frame that you walk off a ledge instead of freely in midair. There are a couple of other meaningful patch differences. We will be sure to point those out as the run goes on. But coming up in just a room here, we're going to see the first nominal boss of the game. This is the False Knight. In just a second after he makes his incredibly dramatic entrance, False Knight is actually a boss that there is a fully dev-intended skip, an early exit to the fight. So what ins0mnia is going to do here is she's going to wail on the armor until the False Knight itself pops out of it. And then after going through one phase of the supposed to be 3-phase fight, the wall to the left of the knight here is going to become breakable, so that we can exit the arena early. It locks us out of being able to pick up a chest with some geo in it. That's this game's currency in the top left there, but we don't need that for the run, and this is much faster on our way to the first major ability of the game.
Yep, and so we'll be getting the Vengeful Spirit. You'll also hear it referred to as VS or Fireball throughout the run. And this is both our main source of damage, doing 3 times the damage of our base nail swing, or is also used for a couple of skips coming up in about 2 minutes, you'll see. And we get a charm later on in the run, which is your badge, your general, tool that enhances your abilities, and that will be used to enhance this spell to make it do 20 damage instead of 15. and make the hitbox slightly bigger. But this will be, once we have that charm as well, that will be the entirety of our damage for the run. So we are going through most of the game very under-equipped, and that will be particularly noticeable in the back half of the run, and the Watcher Knights fight in particular is just brutal starting out. So hopefully that doesn't give us too much trouble.
Yeah, and once you pick up the Vengeful Spirit, the game locks you into this little tutorial area called the Ancestral Mound to make sure that you know how to use it. At the back of this area, there's an enemy called the Elder Balder who needs 4 fireballs to kill. Our soul gauge in the top left can only fit 3, so we must rely on the largesse of the Balder here to spit a baby Balder. That was acceptable RNG there. That's a pure 50-50 shot. The world record for number of junk spits before you get a usable Balder is either 19 or 20, which someone can do the math on that, but it's impossibly low odds to get that ruined by RNG.
Yeah, it was 19 goose spits and then the boulder on the 20th, which is just, brutal. I think it's at least 6 digits, like 1 in a 6-digit number, which is, pretty terrible. And it's always when you've had like a great VS split and then you're just standing there watching the timer tick up. Like, the game is doing this out of spite.
Unfortunately, on patch 1221, the Fireball actually is a slightly longer range spell on this patch than on earlier patches of the game, so that lets you quick kill the second Balder by shooting it from off screen so that the Fireball hitbox overlaps it 4 times and just kills it in one shot, so you don't need to suffer through Balder RNG again. There you also saw ins0mnia perform a Fireball skip, which is the sort of main movement tech of this next area, Green Path. Fireball actually stalls you in the air and pushes the knight back slightly, which lets you reach otherwise inaccessible gaps. This room coming up is the most notable use of it, because if you don't get this Fireball skip, then the sort of casual route around Green Path takes you all the way around the bottom of the map and is multiple minutes as opposed to just a very simple skip.
Yeah, so glad to have got that one. It's not too hard and top players are very consistent at it, but it still feels awful to miss it if you do, for whatever reason, have a slight hiccup. And there is a third one here that doesn't save as much, but it's still nice to get like that.
But we're gaming.
Speaking of gaming, do we have any time for some donations?
Yeah, we're walking to the next boss.
Fabulous. We have so many amazing donations. Everyone is being so generous. We have a $50 donation from Mike Uyama. You all put on a heck of an event. Proud to see the growth of FF events over the years, and they'll only get better. We have $10 from Animex5 saying, Grubbies! That's referring to our desire to please save that one grub, please. Okay, thanks.
We are a split couch on that. ins0mnia is anti-grub. I am pro-grub. Make your voices heard.
Well, yeah, so come on, we need more donations on that. We also have $25 from Grey Goo Girl saying, for Netara's bail from math jail, less than 3. I need that. I'm doing math here.
Amazing. So the Moss Knight enemies that you saw here, earlier the arena with one of them, we saw an important property of the Vengeful Spirit, which is that it can double hit, either through AI manips or just through the hitbox being big enough and the enemy moving in the correct direction. We will be abusing that very heavily throughout the run because 40 damage is a lot better than 5 damage for your base nail. But this is Hornet. Major difficulty spike in the early game of Hollow Knight. Also introduces you to a stagger system where if you strike a boss quickly in succession a number of times, then they'll stagger more readily than if you just space out your stagger. So that was a very clean Hornet fight with a number of double hits on VS as well. And with that, we've got our dash ability, and the movement takes another level.
That was, with no sense of exaggeration or grandiosity, one of like the 3 or 4 best Hornet fights I've had in my life.
Yeah, that was smooth.
Yeah.
Just a quick update. We are just over $500 away from 150,000. And if we get that, we'll be so close to that incentive. Just remember when you're donating to pick an incentive so we know where your money is going.
Yeah,
that went up very quickly.
The fact that Path of Pain was at something like 5.6k out of 10k before the run began broke Insomnia and my brains a little bit. Thank you all so much. Something we didn't mention before is that in this game, when you save and quit, it reloads you back to your most recent bench. We didn't actually bench in the Ancestral Mound, but when you pick up Vengeful Spirit, the game hard saves you there, so we can take advantage of that as a save and quit point anyway, regardless of actually having bench there. There are a couple other points in the run that act as hard saves, notably the Dreamers, but those tend to be negative consequences rather than positive ones.
Yep, so it just happened that Vengeful Spirit's very central to where we're going to be going for the next while, so we just leave our bench there. And now we're getting our wall jump ability, the Mantis Claw. We have a couple of small tricks to do on the way that hopefully all go smoothly. The first is coming up in this room, which is called Explosion Pogo. It's a little tricky, but we got it.
Nice. Love the damage tank version there. There are conservatively 75 ways to Explosion Pogo. Yeah. It's a very stylish sort of trick. And in this room, you see there, lure on the mantises using a relatively consistent AI, as well as luring this mantis up here to hopefully come down and hit Insomnia out of the Mantis Claw pickup to give her early control so that she can save and quit out a little bit faster without having to wait for the pop-up confirming that we did in fact pick up the wall jump.
Yeah, so that was pretty smooth. That version of Explosion Pogo I did is called Wii Pogo, as it was found by one of the French runners, and Hollow Knight runners are very creative in their strat naming. Sometimes it makes sense, and then sometimes, it's because a runner was French or because you trans your dash.
Hey, that one makes perfect sense. So we're coming up here in another room on another mini boss, the Gruzmother. The Gruzmother has a completely consistent quick kill pattern where Somnia's just going to gather soul here to be able to nail cancel, which is where you interrupt the end of your nail swing with fireball, nail cancel a few times, and then 6 nail slashes to finish off the boss. But first we're going to make a quick detour for a stag station here. This is the game's fast travel system. We only open a small handful of stag stations in this run, but it saves a huge amount of backtracking time.
Yeah, exactly. The stags are, just as Quack said, very quick, and they're in very central, convenient locations on the map. And one we'll use at the end of the game in particular saves us literal minutes of backtracking. Just because it's in the middle of nowhere, and then there's, basically a one-way trip out of there, so we jump on that with zero hesitation.
Yep, and when Gruzmom dies, she spits out a ton of small Gruzzers, which we quickly mop up. That was pretty good cleanup. And then from here, we're going to get that charm that Insomnia mentioned earlier. This is the Shaman Stone, and it is the most useful charm in this video game. A damage buff to your spells and a hitbox size increase to your fireball so that the odds of double hitting become astronomically more likely against certain bosses, and indeed make triple hits possible, which we will hope to see in a certain boss fight later down the line.
Yeah, unfortunately we will not have Descending Dark for said boss. It's a common tagline of why are you dying to bosses, just use Descending Dark, but unfortunately it is slow, so we can't go out of our way to get that.
Yeah. And a very cute little thing where somebody shoots a fireball after dying there. We die because when you die, you leave a shade behind in the world, and there's very complicated lore reasons, but the most important thing is that shades are pogoable objects, so we can use it to skip up to this blue lake. And then Insomnia is going to be setting up a trick here, known as wall cling storage, where you can preserve the wall cling state through a chain set of dashes, which lets us zoom across the blue lake in a very satisfying manner.
Yep. So that is a major, minor glitch. It depends on the state of the room, what enemies are alive, if you have your shade, what abilities you have, and
The time of day, the weather
whether
in
it's
Australia.
a full moon. Yeah. But that particular instance is legal, so we'll be making full use of that. And then there's a couple of small ones throughout the run we try, but those tend to be much harder / less consistent setups for a smaller time payoff. But since Blue Lake is so long and we don't have the super dash ability yet, that one it's worth taking the time to set up.
And this is a major story cutscene. We're going to get locked in a small platforming gauntlet to pick up the Dream Nail, which is our major item for accessing the Dreamers. But it's just some quick platforming and then an item pickup, so this would be a great time to squeeze in a couple quick donations.
Absolutely. We have $25 from Chrism the Moof. So excited to see ins0mnia closing down Fatales with Hollow Knight and my meme queen Quacksilver on the mic. Save the grubby, please. Heart. We have $25 from Animax5 saying grubs live. We have $25 from Alice. No grubs left behind. I think you can sense a theme in these donations. We also have $500 from Railkun saying Bingus Grub, Bingus Grub, Bingus Grub. Y'all rock, less than 3. And we are just $275 away from that $150,000. And with that donation, if you attach it to that lovely Path of Pain incentive we're working on, that'll get us even closer to that as well. So let's really push that and meet both of those goals.
We are on our way. Thank you all so much.
You can also forget to put the Path of Pain, put it towards the Path of Pain incentive. No ulterior motive for that one.
No ulterior motive whatsoever. Nah, we're gonna save a grub. We're gonna do the Path of Pain. It's gonna be great. You just need to
Most
get your
likely.
donation.
I was blown away by how quickly that was met, or is being met.
We are inching up there. So this is the City of Tears. Oh,
just gotta break in. I'm so sorry, but I'm not sorry because we've reached $150,000.
Let's go.
Congrats.
Let's go, gamers.
That is, massive. I didn't expect, to make 150, but we did quite comfortably. And we beat last year's, which was the previous record, right? About an hour or two ago, so we flew past that.
So in this area, this is the City of Tears, the beautiful central area of the game. You saw ins0mnia pick up a relic earlier, that Wanderer's Journal. We're going to be able to turn that relic along with a couple others into a particular NPC for some quick cash. That is very, very useful because a single relic, even the cheapest one, is worth 200 geo. So it's much more economical than simply farming enemies, but not that enemy, the Gorgeous Husk, who drops into a very funny number of geo when slain. And coming up is the centerpiece, the Run Killer, the absolutely brutal Walker Knights in just a couple of rooms here. This is, without a doubt, the most frustrating part to learn in the any % speedrun. Pretty much no matter how you slice it. First though, we're going to strike this lever through the floor, an exploit that is only available on patch 1221. It is probably the most major reason that we use this patch for the fastest speedruns, because going around and defeating the arena on the left side of this room is remarkably slow. The consequence of that, though, is you have to do that bit in the dark because the lights don't come on until you finish the arena. So up this elevator, we're going to fight the Watcher Knights. Pro tip for anyone who may be struggling with Watcher Knights casually or as a speedrun, in this secret alcove there is a chandelier that you can drop on one of the Watcher Knights before the fight starts, reducing the number of knights you have to fight from 6 to 5. This is massive.
Yeah, and this is a very hard fight. I'm going to be paying, a lot of attention.
Yeah, So you can see right away the name of the game in these rough boss fights in Hollow Knight, especially when we are as underpowered as we are here with just Base Nail and Shaman VS, is you want to stay close. What somebody's going for is a pogo that keeps you, that you interrupt at a height where you can still fireball the Watcher Knights, as well as obviously you want to maximize the damage that any single fireball does. So you see she's making sure to keep both Watchers in the 2 Watcher phases to one side of her, as well as shooting fireballs in the direction of their motion so that it's possible to double or even triple hit them. The fastest Watcher Knights are a ridiculous combination of tight execution and good grouping RNG, because sometimes the Watcher Knights just decide to roll in opposite directions for a long time, and there's not a whole lot you can do about that.
Yep, so there's a lot of subtlety in getting the Watcher Knights to stack up in a nice way and reading and reacting to their attacks to avoid getting hit. Just because we don't have any access to iframes with our current loadout, which normally you would be expected to have by this point through either the Descending Dark or Shade Cloak abilities. So we just have to go out of our way to avoid taking any unnecessary damage, especially with that 5 health we have. But that was pretty clean. The first one was a little shaky, but we got out alive and managed to actually pull it together pretty well. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, no, that was a very tight last Watcher Knight set. So we climb up to the top of Watcher Spire here, and this is our first Dreamer, the major MacGuffin that I mentioned before. This is Lurian the Watcher. And we sit in a fairly long cutscene to absorb the Dreamer, so now's a great time to sneak in a quick donation or two.
Love that. We have $25 from Holy Bleepin' Bingus. Did we just unlock the Path of Pain? No, my friends, but we are so close. We are less than $500 away from meeting that Path of Pain, so I know we can do that. With all of your help, we will do it. We also have a $1,000 donation from Valerie. Until Silksong, there is only pain. And that was one of those donations which helped us get this close. We can do it, folks. Let us keep pushing, get an even higher PB, and meet that incentive.
Let's go. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's start a donation train. Everyone donate $1 for every day you've been waiting for Hollow Knight Silksong. We will breeze past every goal. Oh, we feel it just as deeply as you all do in the chat. Make no mistake about it.
If anything, a sense of denial's just kicked in. Like, Silksong isn't real, Silksong isn't real, and then one day I'll be pleasantly proven wrong.
Gonna be great. So on the way down from Lurian being a hard save, like I mentioned before, so we can't just save quit back to a more convenient bench. Thomni has to walk all the way out of Watcher Spire. On the way back down, we picked up the very conveniently placed 655 Geo chest, as well as another relic, so that we can take it to Relic Dealer Lem, our friendly NPC. And this section right here is actually one of the most recently rerouted segments of the Any% speedrun. Thanks to some new tricks that we're going to go for in this next room to do rafters, which is this big room. From this side, we're going to pause for a second in anticipation.
And can I squeak in some donations?
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Right,
Back
we
to
got
sell
it.
to them. Nice.
Okay, great. So we have $50 from Epic Yoshi Master. I am so unbelievably excited to see ins0mnia closing out FF with Hollow Knight. I've enjoyed getting to know you so very much, and I've loved watching you grow and do all these amazing things. Chat, Path of Pain is not something you want to miss. Get those donations in and make it happen. Also, you should save the grub.
Thank you, Mallory, of Epic Yoshi Master. She is amazing and one of the people that got me into like the wider speedrunning scene and encouraging me to submit to events like this. So huge shout out to her, and if you haven't seen it, go back and watch her crosscode run from this event as well, which I hear was incredible.
Let's go. This next segment, we're going to take all of our newly found Geo from the interaction with Relic Dealer Lem, and we're going to use it to buy an item called the Lumafly Lantern, which is only necessary insofar as it makes a toll that is usually not loaded in load in properly for us. This is just a little bit of shopping, so you actually have time to keep pushing those donations through.
Love that for us. So we have $25 from Tay D Pie. I would tell you a Hollow Knight pun, but I feel like it would bug some people. Winky face. We have $125 from Caroline. Grub? Bingus? Grubingus? We have $50 from Kuzibuk. I've never seen Path of Pain. I want to see Path of Pain. Let's get this unlocked. Trans rights are human rights. And speaking of some of the donations we had earlier, we have $50 from Heldon Subre. That jacket is so cool. Also, can't leave an incentive behind on the final day. 150K hype. And we are just over $300 from that donation being met. I know we keep saying it, but chat, we can do this together.
Oh, we're right there. So this infected room is arguably my least favorite in the entire any percent run. Somebody making that look entirely easy. That's the toll that is not loaded if you don't have Lumify Lantern. And you see somebody also gets a little bit of walkling storage off of the gate as it descends there. So just do a quick and cute dash chain there. And this area is Crystal Peak. Crystal Peak is our cycle area. Starting with this world-famous trick known as Pogax, so named because you pogo an axe. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, that's not an easy trick. It's definitely much more consistent, and people have gotten good to the point where it's considered pretty consistent, but it's always a nice little relaxation when you do hit it.
And as you saw with these laser bugs, the name of the game here is a whole lot of cycles. Coming up in a couple of rooms, first we're going to see a very tall room that is a strong argument for those free inventory drops that 1221 allows for. As we've walked all the way up Crystal Peak on one side and are going to quickly descend on the other. And then Somni's going to enter the sort of laser gauntlet room before our next major movement ability, the Crystal Heart. This is going to be a cycle-locked room, so there actually is a perfectly consistent cycle where I believe Somni's going to take a damage here, and then from that damage tank, all of the other laser cycles line up perfectly. But we will be remiss to not mention the most important trick in Hollow Knight morally. That's Underplat.
Yeah, so Underplat was discovered years and years ago and then popularized somewhat by someone during the Rando tournament. So we always have to give a shout out to Locus whenever we do that.
And having picked up the Crystal Heart, unlike most major movement abilities, or some major movement abilities, is not a hard save. So you can quit out right back to Dirtmouth and immediately take our fair-gotten gains back into Crossroads. Because Somni has already absorbed a Dreamer, rescued a Dreamer, unlocked a Dreamer, the Crossroads have become infected. That's why we saw those very aggressive Vengeflies on the way into Crystal Peak, and we're also going to see their effects here. Although only for a brief moment as we move into yet another area here. Coming up, this is going to be the Fog Canyon, starting with an acid skip, where Somni clings to the wall barely above a pool of acid and then uses Crystal Dash to get across. Every pool of acid in the game that is relevant for speedrunning happens to be acid skippable. There's only one pool of acid in the game that isn't, and that's because only that acid pool, there's an invisible wall that exists when you don't have Ismasteer.
Also, can I break in for a very important announcement?
Yes, please.
We have met the Path of Pain incentive.
Oh, just in time for let's go.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing that. Now, for this run isn't over yet, let's keep pushing and get a new PB, an even larger PB of 160,000. We can do it, everyone, together.
Thank
Yeah,
you
I
all
mean,
so much.
incredible that's met, and it gives me something else to look forward to. If everything else goes smoothly, we can rectify that somewhat. But this will probably be our first big speed bump. Yeah, Umu, so it does 3 attacks in the first cycle, then 2 in subsequent cycles, but it can randomly do an extra, and then it can randomly alternate between fast or slow attacks. And then hitting the 2 cycle is also very hard. So it's all these wonderful things adding up to just make a very difficult, annoying random boss.
Yeah, if Watcher Knights are a major execution test, then Umu is a major frustration and mental game test. Because, like Tommy mentioned, Umu has 300 HP, and it is just barely possible with judicious double hits and a little bit of good luck that the boss doesn't give you too much trouble to deal 150 damage with some arrow bars in each of 2 vulnerable phases, since Umu cannot be hurt while the shield is up. We need to wait for Coral. Very clean, nice.
So we actually got an extra attack as well on the second cycle, but it didn't matter. We managed to get the backup, which is just absolutely what you want to see. That is not easy.
Yeah, that was an excellent handling of Umu. And this is Monomon, our second dreamer. Once again, we're going to absorb him and watch a cutscene. So we got 1 or 2 quick donations. Now is the time.
Absolutely. We have $10 from Yantur saying, save the grub. We have $125 from JD Puppy. Let's get that Path of Pain bonus game met. What an amazing way to wrap up an amazing week. Big thanks to all the runners, hosts, volunteers, and staff for a really wonderful event. Great jobs, ladies and team.
Wonderful. So how far are we off that Path of Pain incentive now?
Oh, we met it.
It got met.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Somebody has already repressed it. You love
Okay,
to see
how
it.
far past the Path of Pain incentive are we?
Well, we are, I don't know how far past it we are, but we currently are at $150,942, and we are trying to reach $160,000. Do it for the grubs.
If we get 152 in the next, 3 minutes, then I could probably save the Beast and Grubs, since people seem to be on the fence about whether they want that.
People are on the fence, meaning everyone is for and ins0mnia is against. You heard
Absolutely.
the lady. You heard her.
Okay.
Get 'em
yeah,
in.
you heard her. We got 3 minutes to get to that 152,000, or the grub gets it.
Amazing. So this next room is one of the hardest single pieces of tech in the speedrun. This is the Queen's Gardens acid skip. It is a much tighter acid skip than the one to get into Fog Canyon. You have a very narrow window above the acid to actually cling to the wall and get the C-dash off. So you see ins0mnia using a strat where you input C-dash and then jump, and then that way, if you don't actually have the purchase to start a crystal dash, you can jump back off the wall. But the trick is by no means easy, including the dismount at the other side, which can be a bit frustrating. This is for sure a practice room, and there it is, showing off the alternate strat where instead of going all the way to the wall, you dash into the wall on the opposite side. And with that, we're into Queen's Garden.
So that dashing into the wall strat is pretty much just straight up worse in terms of theoretical consistency, but if you can't time the C-dash input for whatever reason, be it nerves or just it's genuinely hard, you can just, mash dash, and then you can buffer a wall jump out of dash, because the main issue is you can't buffer anything out of Crystal Dash ending, and you can't buffer the start of the Crystal Dash. So it's just working around that in this tiny little lip, which we have almost zero purchase on, trying to start and then start a C-dash, and then have enough height at the end to be able to get up off at the other end. So it's just a very difficult trick, and one that was is hard enough that an alternate route that loses 50 seconds is very commonly recommended as a beginner-friendly route. So if you are looking to run the game, there are, like I say, beginner strats for almost everything, and it's a very heavily ran, highly documented speed game, so you can find resources to learn the game very easily at whatever level of difficulty suits you.
Speaking of difficulty, we are less than $1,000 away from that $152,000 we need to save the grub. Please, chat, we all want to save this grub. Please help us convince our lovely runner.
He's close. There is a thankfully quite long cutscene coming up, but it's getting tight, friends. This is Deep Nest. Thankfully, we see very little of Deep Nest, as anyone with any sort of arachnophobia will rightfully attest, because this is the spider lair. We also have the advantage of having the Lumifly lantern, so these rooms are actually visible. It is entirely possible to traverse Deep Nest fully in the dark, and were it not for the fact that we needed lantern to open up the Crystal Peak toll, many speedrun categories of this game simply do traverse Deep Nest in the dark. But fortunately, just a couple of rooms here, and then ins0mnia's going to sit on this bench to access the Beast Den. I mentioned much earlier that one of our dreamers is not guarded by a boss, but by a formidable area, and this is that area.
Yep, so we're going to be quitting out as soon as we regain control and touch the ground here. And what that does is it allows us to get a free heal. And then we'll be doing a trick to get past the first devout without spending any soul or wasting much time. It is quite difficult, and it can just randomly fail, and then you have to save quit again and lose 10 seconds. But hopefully we won't have that, and hopefully I don't mess it up, because it isn't easy by any means. But yeah, we'll see.
I believe. And then after that, it's time for us all to put as much pressure from chat on ins0mnia as possible so that we see a grub freed today.
And so far, chat is working real hard on that. We are just getting those donations coming in. We are less than $800 away and to saving that grub.
ins0mnia, you want to do it for the people.
Ooh. Well, if I die, that does give us a little extra time to
the spiders
meet
at
that
Beast Den
donation.
simply know.
Can I just read some donations while we're working through some things?
Yep.
Well, oh, brutal.
Sounds like a yes. We have $25 from Meat Karen saying, putting my money towards a good cause, the saving of grubs. Amazing to see you on here, ins0mnia, and Quack on comms. Always a treat. We have, let's see what we've got here. So many wonderful things. We have $25 from TWD Industries. I have to close out this marathon to donate to my wife's favorite game. About a bug. Surrounded by other bugs that hate that bug. But not us. We don't hate that bug at all. We think that bug is pretty keen. Go, bug, go. To the path of pain.
So I just wanted to give you all a little extra time to meet that donation incentive and set up a shade skip on the last devout. So yeah, whoops, that is not intentional. I didn't have the health nor soul to perform the usual quick kill that we would on that last devout, so hence the untimely demise. But we hopefully shouldn't have any issues this second time, and we will pass by, or close enough to that grub in the next about 50 seconds, I believe. That if we've met it by then, an exception can be made. But if we don't meet it by then that is okay.
And chat will simply get their revenge in the path of pain incentive.
Yeah, that's not okay.
Yeah.
That's not okay. We're less than $500 away.
And I mean, we're saving Mila, we saved the animals, we've saved basically everything else this marathon, so the abandoned team needs a little bit of
oh, no way.
Needs a win.
No, we can't end it like this. We're working so hard. We cannot mar our perfect record here.
It's so especially brutal because I am team abandoned in all things except grubs. So this will represent goose eggs for Quacksilver if this does not get met. And I know you wouldn't do that to me, chat.
You can't do it. We have $25 from Anonymous saying, save the grub. We have $100 from Reverend Gumby for the grubs. Like, they want this.
I think that says home. That is unfortunate.
All right, we'll see you in the path of pain.
If it's... There is a grub near Myla, but no, we don't have to save that one either. It's fine.
But we do if we get to that 52,000.
You got a second chance, chat.
But I don't think we're going to get a third chance.
There will not be a third, make no mistake. This is the final stag station of the game that ins0mnia mentioned a while ago. Because Hera is a hard save, walking all the way out of Deep Nest back to effectively the start of the game where the final boss is lurking would be many, many minutes, but our geo routing is such that we can just narrowly afford the distant village stag, and that will take us back towards the lair of the final boss, the Hollow Knight, from the hit video game, Hollow Knight.
Yep, so something that got forgotten amidst the hype around the Path of Pain and grub saving incentives is we also voted to save another NPC, which is Myla. Myla is a crystal miner who earlier on in the game is singing a lovely little tune and slaving away on her little section of the Crystal Peaks, and we have decided to save her because once you get the Crystal Dash ability, you gain the ability to harm her because the infection overwhelms her. But here she is, just toiling away, and we are choosing not to aggravate and potentially defeat her. So we have, elected to save her. This is our little friend. She is very aggressive. I am not a Save Myla enjoyer because, I don't know, anyone that's willing to do this to me probably, doesn't have my best interests at heart, so why should I return the favor? But yeah, that is Myla. We have saved her, and we can now go on to fight the final boss of the run, which is the Hollow Knight, because we are not the Hollow Knight, which is a very common misconception about the game. When you see, the title and then you see the Knight, which is our character, on all the promotional art, you naturally assume that, oh yeah, this is the Hollow Knight, right? But no, so we are fighting the Hollow Knight, and you might be thinking, oh, so the Hollow Knight's hollow, right? No, that is almost the entire plot of the game, that the Hollow Knight isn't hollow, but the Knight is hollow, but it's not the Hollow Knight. Which isn't confusing whatsoever. Thankfully, we run the game in Chinese, so we don't have to have our minds bogged down with all of the lore. But yes, casually, that might have been a bit of a head-scratcher for everyone.
So in this final boss chamber, ins0mnia is going to break the 4 chains here that will release the Hollow Knight from its imprisonment. And then we're going to get into the boss fight, which has several phases, each one intercut by a scream, unless some cool damage rotations happen. But it starts the fight off with a scream. The main thing about the Hollow Knight as a boss fight is that you want to be staying as close to it as possible. Like I said, that's a common theme. That's for a couple of reasons. 1, you can react to basically any attack telegraph with a jump. And 2, in the event where the Hollow Knight does a cross-map dash, then it is possible to get double hits as the Hollow Knight dashes away from you. Although this Hollow Knight is being a little bit aggressive. There's one of those dashes. After the first screen, it gains access to a couple extra attacks, including an Infection Spit one, and this parry that we love to not see because parries are very slow and also have a huge hitbox as well. After the second scream, the Knight stabs itself, the Hollow Knight rather, stabs itself, and during those self-stabs, all incoming damage is reduced to 1, so it's a good time to heal up and generally not waste soul on fireballs. Getting a lot of infection attacks. This is a slightly uncooperative Hollow Knight today. And there you saw ins0mnia take intentional damage on that last scream to avoid being stunned while the Hollow Knight screamed. And that's our final boss. Time is coming up. It's when the screen fully fades to black after this cutscene of us absorbing some infection from the Hollow Knight.
Yep, so I'll just call time when that happens. But that was a pretty good THK fight. We had a few parries, but nothing ridiculous. And yeah, we got the scream skip, which is always nice. And time. So that wasn't too bad.
That was a really good run. Minus the grub.
Yeah. No, definitely including the grub. It knows what it did.
It was cute and adorable, and now it is gone.
It's not gone, it's still there. That's the whole point.
It's okay, though, because we're going to get some penance for ins0mnia's action.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's
That
all
is
about the
unfortunately
narrative.
true.
It's all about the narrative.
That is true. And while we're getting set up for this run, I'm going to read out some more donations. So we have $25 from Jamie. Underplat, woo! Shoutouts to Locus. But also shoutouts to the most wonderful woman I've ever met and had the pleasure of supporting for the past couple of years. Even if you chain die to Fluke Marm, we still love you. Also, shoutouts to Quack for her wonderful commentary, and also championing our meme categories. For so long, people actually started running them. Also, kill the grubs, vibe with Marissa, kill Mila. Sorry, Gidge.
Thank you, Jamie, for everything. And yeah, thank you again to Quack. We're not done yet, but thank you for saying yes when I basically rocked off her door, metaphorically, and was like, hey, I have a terrible idea. I got this into Frame Fatales. Would you like to, join me in this and see, what possible shenanigans we can get up to? And she didn't even hesitate. So yeah, massive thanks to Quack and everything she does for Hollow Knight and just like the wider speedrunning community, and pushing her flavor of the week little Metroidvanias.
Well, if we're doing the sappy bits now, wouldn't miss it for the world. ins0mnia is, without exaggeration, the reason I am a speedrunner. I am, when I was a neophyte to the Hollow Knight community, playing randomizer with her, gave me the wherewithal and the confidence to start talking about speedrunning and making social connections with speedrunning. So I would not miss this for the world, and I'm so excited that I get to be present for your abject misery in the path of pain in just a moment. But seriously, thank you so much.
All right, we're about ready. I just need to make sure I unovercharm.
Yes.
For no particular reason.
Fabulous. And while you're just getting that set up, because we have gone to the break screen for a moment, I'm just going to read some more donations. Okay, it sounds like actually we're all set up, so never mind. Let's keep going.
Oh, you can do another donation and give me an extra second to just like...
Oh, hey, well, in that case, we're going to do it. So we have $13 from Non-Binary Code. We're getting close to that 150K. Do it for Bingus, and Airboat, and Crocomire, who, by the way, all say trans rights. Are you all ready for Path of Pain?
I believe we are. Is everything good on your end now, Quack?
Yep.
All right. Yep, okay. It'll be when I go through this transition. So 3, 2, 1, now. The Path of Pain is a additional extra hard platforming area that was added as part of the Grim Troop DLC, which is hidden in the Path of Pain. Hidden in the White Palace, which is already a exceptionally difficult platforming area in a game, my bad, that doesn't really have tons of super difficult platforming. And then, the Path of Pain came and blew White Palace out of the water. It took me about an hour and a half casually, and I'd already speedrun the game at that point. So it is very hard to overstate the difficulty of this area. Speedrunners are amazing creatures and have done this in under 2 minutes, which is, I can't overstate just how incredible that is. The level of optimization that's gone into it, and the amount of times that strats have been deemed TAS only for someone to turn around 6 months later, having spent like 500 hours practicing that one room, go and do it and get world record is just incredible. It's had a very storied history for a 2-minute IL, so it's hard to, like I say, overstate just how incredible this run and the people who run it at the top level are.
And this run is also a testament to the ongoing and perpetual ingenuity of the Hollow Knight community. Whether that is routing collaborations, whether that, like ins0mnia mentioned, is IL mastery to the point of insane attempt counters, truly unbelievable to anyone who is not themselves a seasoned IL runner, but also because of the ever-evolving nature of even the shortest speedruns in this game. ins0mnia, do you want to talk about the hot new tech that is taking the Hollow Knight world by storm?
Alright, so you're going to be seeing a tech that is so new we haven't even decided whether to make it legal yet, which is called Shrogo, which is a concentration or a smash togethering of Shriek and Pogo. So our Abyss Shriek ability, which I'll just show here, this thing, we can actually pogo it, which defies all sense and logic, but we discovered that we can do that. And so we're going to do that to make the Thorn Skip Skip, which is otherwise probably the hardest trick done in any Hollow Knight speedrun, to make it pretty trivial. And by trivial I mean it's only like a 4-frame window for 2 inputs, which is way easier than Thorn Skip Skip, which I think was double frame perfect, at least double, maybe triple or quadruple. I unfortunately missed there. I got the Shrogo but didn't gain enough height. So the people doing this without Shrogo are just hitting levels of precision that, like, I can't even adequately, like, describe. It's just incredible what people have managed to do with this game and this IL, and just like the people that find all of this stuff. I can't say I would have thought, yeah, my upward spell, let's like jump and somehow pogo that. So yeah, just shout outs to everyone, I guess. And there it is.
Let's go. Shout outs to Shrogo. The Hollow Knight community, in the conservatively 95 years we've all been waiting for Silksong, has pushed this game to the absolute limit in just about every conceivable way. And I cannot wait to see what is around the corner. So we got one more room left in the Path of Pain. If you've experienced this brutal gauntlet casually, you may know that at the end of this final platforming room, just for the added spice, is a combat arena with 2 King's Molds, enemies that have very fast-moving projectiles and deal double damage to the knight. So we're going to close down this run, this incentive, and indeed Frost Fatales in some style for y'all.
Having a little bit of trouble because when you practice this room you only ever really practice it on cycle, and so I kind of take for granted that you can dash in certain places, but we'll just gather our thoughts a little and we should be able to get through here in the next attempt or two. This is a very non-marathon friendly category, just because people in runs probably have about 100 attempts to get out of the first room, and that's not, actually I think that's underplaying it like quite heavily. And I don't have Shaman because I didn't want to be over charmed for this, so that's going to be an extra little layer. We're about done. There we go. And so now we just need to talk and get the little bit of extra lore from our friend here. And
time is once again
that
on
is
the
time
fade.
Once this fades. Yep. And time.
Amazing. GG.
Perfect. So slightly faster than the 90 minutes it took me casually. But also slightly slower than the under 2 minutes it takes the top runners. And I think that's about all from me as far as at least the speedrun content goes. Is there anything else that you want to say, Quack? Or we can hand it over to any donations or additional things you need to do for
Somni, plug your
wrapping
socials.
up?
Blow this woman up on Twitch, on Twitter, I presume, on all of the places where content can be found. Thank you so much for having me, Somni, and also Fatals. Truly so thrilled.
Yeah, and I also just want to say a special thanks to Frozen Flagon as well, or Court. She was the one that encouraged me to even submit for this marathon, and it's hard to really understate how glad I am I've done this and how big a confidence boost it was getting a vote of confidence from someone who essentially was like a role model for so long, like as a fledgling speedrunner and that. So yeah, huge shout outs to them, huge shout outs to everyone that's made this possible and the Hollow Knight community as well.
Well, thank you so much to you, ins0mnia, and to your lovely commentator, Quack. This was an absolutely amazing run. Please, everyone, make sure to shout them out, give them all the follows, and even though we did not get our grub, we did have an amazing run, and we had our Path of Pain. Just quickly, though, we have a $125 donation from Mizuki Bara saying, "This has been such a fantastic event, and I'm so glad I got the chance to volunteer and support such a fantastic, wonderful cause and community. Can't wait to do more with the amazing FF community in the future." Thank you so much for that. With that, though, I'd like to talk a bit about actual Frost Fatales and our Frame Fatales in general. So, Frost Fatales is presented by Frame Fatales, an all-woman community for those who are interested in speedrunning, charity events, and gaming. In addition to our two flagship events, Frost Fatales and Flame Fatales, we have a supportive community Discord with activities year-round, including Game of the Month and randomizer events. If you are a woman and would like to join the Frame Fatales Discord server, DM the Frame Fatales Twitter account or the GDQ Instagram account and send an email to framefatales@gamesdonequick.com. All women, cis, trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming are welcome to join. And with that, I'm going to be signing out. I've been Netara, your host for this end of our event. We are now going to be heading off to our studio crew. Let them cheer us out. Make sure to give them all your love. And thank you, chat, for being here with us. We couldn't have done it without you.
Hello, everyone. Frost Fatales 2023 concluded with a total of $151,614 raised for Malala Fund. From all of us here at the studio, thank you to everyone who participated in and watched the event. My name is Frozen Flagon, the Frame Fatales lead, and I want to introduce the rest of the Frame Fatales leads.
My name is Eric Angel, and I'm the social media lead.
Hello, my name is Chor Bunny, and I'm the host lead.
My name is Corva May, and I'm the tech lead.
Hi, my name is Broseph. I'm the games committee lead.
Two of our leads are back at home. We have Kung Fu Fruit Cup, our interview lead, and Elena, one of our social media leads. Thank you both so much. Before we go, thank you to all the runners, studio workers, volunteers, and GDQ staff members who made this event possible. We all love speedrunning. It isn't always perfect, but it is fun and awesome.
We'd also like to thank our sponsors, The Yeti, Twitch, Support Class, Sega, and Hell of an Office Game, and to all who have donated prizes for the event.
Frame Fatales is an all-women community for those who are interested in speedrunning, charity events, and gaming. It is a space for you if you identify as a woman in any way that is meaningful to you. All women, cis, trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming are welcome to join. If you are a woman and you would like to join the Frame Fatales Discord server, visit framefatales.com.
And you don't need to be a speedrunner to join us over in the server. If you've just been having a fun time watching the event, if you want to donate a prize next time or you want to volunteer, submit a run, you can come join us. And we would love to have you. We have an amazing and growing community that I know everyone here is proud to be a part of.
And we are thrilled to announce that our next event, Flame Fatales 2023, will take place August 13th through the 19th.
Thank you again, everyone, especially everyone who is here, who has worked so hard to make this the best event we have ever put on, ever. We've raised, this is the most we've ever raised for charity together. And I know that we can do amazing things. So everyone in the audience, stay tuned for more Frame Fatales action in the future.
Woo!